Hello there. So there's an old saying which is, the pen is mightier than the sword. And what does that mean, and is it true? Well, with a sword you can go out and kill a bunch of people. But if you happen to be a despotic dictator, all you've got to do is sign some pieces of paper and you can lay waste to an entire country or a region, or wipe out 20% of your population, which is what Stalin did in the 20th century. But I'm not here to talk about things like that. I'm here to talk about, can the pen heal, and how can the pen heal, and what is so interesting about this. So I've been doing this practice of writing out traumas as a way of healing myself from PTSD, and after I did all that, a friend of mine was having issues with anger, and it occurred to me that this process that can be used so powerfully to heal people with PTSD and other really severe trauma disorders can actually be used to heal much more everyday situations. Because something that a lot of us experience is when we have emotions that get bottled up and we don't find a way to release them. And in fact, something I do know from my personal experience, working with so many clients over so many years, is that bottled up feelings are indeed a major cause of people's unwellness. So what I decided to do was to take my friend through the process which I'd done, some very minor modifications, and the feedback I've got is incredible. So anger had become such a problem in this person's life that it was affecting their relationships and affecting their outlook and attitude towards life. So took them through the process, and when I had an opportunity to have a chat quite recently, and I said, how is it going? Well, it was so much better than I'd hoped, because in fact the anger issue that had been a major problem in that person's life had simply been resolved. And what they described to me was much better relationships with people they're close to, and more than that, an improved outlook on life in general. So that was really encouraging to me, because I've been going through some really tough times lately. And it dawned on me when I wrote out my dream this morning. Thank you, subconscious. Thank you, subconscious. I'm so grateful to my subconscious mind for giving me the dream. And just being with it for a few minutes in the bed, and then realizing, that's what it's about. So what I realized about myself is I've got various issues with people, and I've been bottling them up, and I've not been communicating. And this is something that I tend to do when things get really difficult. I tend to go into withdrawal mode. Worst thing you can do, of course, I know that, but it's like a really deep-seated behavior pattern, which is what I'm working on with all the PTSD work. So what I want to do is to invite you to join in with this. So this is how it is. If you're a person who is like a child and releases all your emotions the moment they arise, then this is not for you. But if you're someone who's ever experiencing situations and times and places where there's something you need to get off your chest and you can't, maybe the person's not available, maybe you can't reach them, maybe they're no longer around, who knows what it might be. Well, it could simply be that it just feels like too big an issue. And that's what's been happening to me lately. I got to that point I've spoken about before, where I suddenly found myself becoming non-functional, just feeling literally oppressed and overwhelmed by all these feelings which were rolling around inside me and not being released because I didn't have a way. Because these were not my major life traumas, this is just my everyday stuff I was dealing with. So I did it this morning, and I can tell you, once I made the choice to do it, I felt better. And then the actual doing of it was very surprising indeed, because I thought I was angry with someone, but when I actually came down to the writing, when I actually wrote it out with a pen on the paper, and this is an important little detail, pen on paper trumps all other methods of written communication. When it comes to therapeutic work, it's the best way. So I very much surprised myself by what came out, and that has been even more helpful and even more of a revelation. So this is it. So my invitation is, if you've got something that is unresolved, you've got some business with someone, or maybe even some business with yourself and it's unresolved, this is what I suggest you do. I suggest you get yourself a pen and some paper and a clipboard. Don't get a notebook. Get some paper and something to write on. When you can do this at any time of day at all, but I tend to find the most powerful time is in the morning. But you can do it whenever you like. Really doesn't matter. That's just a personal preference. And if I've got some feelings and I don't even know how to name them, the first thing I do when I start writing, I've got all these feelings rolling around inside myself and I don't quite know what they are. I'm just going to write, and I'm going to keep writing. And you just keep writing and it will come to you. It does. It comes to you. You know what it is. And then it just pours out and you just keep writing until it's done. And you'll know when it's done because you'll have a feeling of, wow, yeah, okay. It may be very uncomfortable, the writing part, if it's something that's been held in a long time. If it's only something that's been held in for a short time, it will be very, very easy and straightforward. So my unfortunate lifetime issue is holding things in, holding things back for too long. So with me, more painful. Generally speaking, it just comes straight out. But even when it's painful, for me, it comes straight out. So just write it out, and then I suddenly have the feeling, that's what I needed to get out. I've got out the bit that matters most for me now, here, today. When I've done that, if there's more than one piece of paper, I number them, and I put the date on the first piece of paper, today's date, then I put them into an envelope, and I write the date 3 weeks in the future. So 21 days in the future, I write on the envelope, open, whatever date that might happen to be. So in my case, I wrote this morning, open 12th of December 2023. That's when I'm able to open this one. Now this might seem very strange, especially if you're new to this idea. This is a new idea for me this year. It comes from Kathy O'Brien, PTSD, Time to Heal, ebook. So good. It works. And I know it works because it's working for me and it works for others too. So this is your opportunity. If you'd like to do this as an experiment, what I invite you to do is, when you could identify something that you feel, yeah, the best way to put it, is there something bothering you? Because whatever it is, it doesn't matter how trivial it might appear to be to your judgmental, rational mind, don't be bothered about that. But it's something that's bothering you, and there's a feeling component there. It could be frustration, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be grief, it could be despair, it could be shame, it could be anything, whatever it is. Write it out in the envelope, then you put the envelope away for 21 days, and you can set yourself a calendar alert if you're a modern person with a device, and in 21 days you get the alert, right, today's the day. Now what's really interesting about my friend who did this, actually they'd forgotten all about the 21 days, and it was just in conversation. And I said, how are you getting on with that, writing out the anger? It's, I forgot all about it. It's resolved. There's no longer a problem. So when it came to that person in particular, it's like, I know what I need to do with what I wrote out. I don't need to do anything with it because it's done, it's successful. So some people, what you need to do is to do nothing with it. Other people, they might want to burn it, toss it in the fire. Other people, they might want to speak about it to someone, or they might want to share in some other way, or they might want to use it as a basis of a message to send to someone. But here's the trick. The trick is giving yourself the 21 days breathing space. Means that by the time the 21 days is up, you'll know what to do. She knew what to do. The answer is don't do anything, it's done the job. So what I invite you to do, if this appeals to you, please, is to do what I did this morning and what my friend did some weeks ago, and what I've been doing with the lifetime traumas since July this year. Write it out, envelope, come back 21 days later, and here's a really important thing: check in with how you're feeling. It was really useful for me to check in how I was feeling when I'd actually made the choice I was going to do it. Instantly felt better. Checking in how I felt when I wrote it out, really bloody awful. And then how did I feel afterwards? Actually quite inspired, actually pretty creative. Feeling, feeling more alive. And now I've just got the waiting time, but I won't be thinking of it as waiting time. It's like it's put away, that's it, set an alert, and simply see what happens. So what I'm inviting you to do, please, if you choose to take this route, it would be so cool if you would share your experiences with us in the comments. Let us know how it goes for you, because you never know, your inspiring story could inspire somebody else's, just like my friend's inspiring story inspired me to do what I did this morning, thanks to the subconscious giving me the dream as my cue, and to make this film and to sit here with you by the fire this afternoon. So all the love to you, and thank you very much.